Hacking concepts, types, and phases. Ethical hackers usually fall into the white hat category, but sometimes they are former gray hats who have become security professionals and who now use their skills in an ethical manner. White hats. White hats are the good guys, the ethical hackers who use their hacking skills for defensive purposes. White hat hackers are usually security professionals with knowledge of hacking and hacker toolset, and who use this knowledge to locate weaknesses and implement countermeasures. White hat hackers are prime candidates for the exam. White hats are those who hack with permission from the data owner. It is critical to get permission prior to beginning any hacking activity. This is what makes a security professional a white hat versus a malicious hacker who cannot be trusted. Black hats. Black hats are the bad guys, the malicious hackers or crackers who use their skills for illegal or malicious purposes. They break into or otherwise violate the system integrity of remote systems with malicious intent. Having gained unauthorized access, black hat hackers destroy vital data, deny legitimate user service, and just cause problems for their targets. Black hat hackers and crackers can easily be differentiated from white hat hackers because their actions are malicious. This is the traditional definition of a hacker and what most people consider a hacker to be. Gray hats. Gray hats are hackers who may work offensively or defensively depending on the situation. This is the dividing line between hacker and cracker. Gray hat hackers may just be interested in hacking tools and technologies and are not malicious black hats. Gray hats are self proclaimed ethical hackers who are interested in hacking tools mostly from a curiosity standpoint. They may want to highlight security problems in a system or educate victims so they secure their systems properly. These hackers are doing their victims a favor. For instance, if a weakness is discovered in a service offered by an investment bank, the hacker is doing the bank a favor by giving the bank a chance to rectify the vulnerability. From a more controversial point of view, some people consider the act of hacking itself to be unethical, like breaking an entry. But the belief that ethical hacking excludes destruction at least moderates the behavior of people who see themselves as benign hackers. According to this view, it may be one of the highest forms of hacker courtesy to break into a system and then explain to the system operator exactly how it was done and how the hole can be plugged. The hacker is acting as an unpaid and unsolicited Tiger Team, a group that conducts security audits for hire. This approach has gotten many ethical hackers in legal trouble. Make sure you know the law and your legal liabilities when engaging in ethical hacking activity. Many self proclaimed ethical hackers are trying to break into the security field as consultants. Most companies don't look favorably on someone who appears on their doorstep with confidential data and offers to fix the security holes for a price. Responses ranging from "thank you for this information, we'll fix the problem" to calling the police to arrest the self proclaimed ethical hacker. The difference between white hats and gray hats is that permission word. Although gray hats might have good intentions, without the correct permission, they can no longer be considered ethical. Now that you understand the types of hackers, let's look at what hackers do. This may seem simple, they hack into computer systems, but sometimes it's not that simple or nebulous. There is a process that should be followed and information that needs to be documented. In the next section, we'll look at what hackers and most importantly ethical hackers do. The phases of ethical hacking. The process of ethical hacking can be broken down into 5 distinct phases. Later in this book, ethical hacking software programs and tools will be categorized into each of these steps. An ethical hacker follows process similar to those of a malicious hacker. The steps to gain and maintain entry into a computer system are simple no matter what the hacker's intentions are. Phase 1. Passive and active reconnaissance. Passive reconnaissance involves gathering information about a potential target without the targeted individual's or company's knowledge. Passive reconnaissance can be as simple as watching a building to identify what time employees enter the building and when they leave. However, most reconnaissance is done sitting in front of a computer. When hackers are looking for information on a potential target, they commonly run an internet search on an individual or a company to gain information. I'm sure many of you have performed the same search on your own name or a potential employer, or just to gather information on a topic. This process, when used to gather information regarding a TOE, is generally called information gathering. Social engineering and dumpster diving are also considered passive information gathering methods. These two methods will be discussed in more detail later in this chapter. Sniffing the network is another means of passive reconnaissance and can yield useful information such as IP address ranges, naming conventions, hidden servers or network, and other available services on the system or network. Sniffing network traffic is similar to building monitoring. A hacker watches the flow of data to see what time certain transactions take place and where the traffic is going. Sniffing network traffic is a common hook for many ethical hackers. Once they use some of the ethical hacking tools and are able to see all the data that is transmitted in the clear over the communication networks, they are eager to learn and see more. Sniffing tools are simple and easy to use and yield a great deal of valuable information. An entire chapter in this book, Chapter 6, Gathering Data from Network Sniffers, is dedicated to these tools, which literally let you see all the data that is transmitted on the network. Many times this includes usernames and passwords and other sensitive data. This is usually quite an eye-opening experience for many network administrators and security professionals and leads to serious security concerns. Active reconnaissance involves probing the network to discover individual hosts, IP addresses, and services on the network. This process involves more risk of detection than passive reconnaissance and is sometimes called rattling the doorknobs. Active reconnaissance can give a hacker an indication of security measures in place. Is the front door locked? But the process also increases the chance of being caught or at least raising suspicion. Many software tools that perform active reconnaissance can be traced back to the computer that is running the tools, thus increasing the chance of detection for the hacker. Both passive and active reconnaissance can lead to the discovery of useful information to use in an attack. For example, it's usually easy to find the type of web server and the operating system OS version number that a company is using. This information may enable a hacker to find a vulnerability in that OS version and exploit the vulnerability to gain more access. Phase 2. Scanning. Scanning involves taking the information discovered during reconnaissance and using it to examine the network. Tools that a hacker may employ during the scanning phase include dialers, port scanners, Internet Control Message Protocol or ICMP scanners, ping sweeps, network mappers, Simple Network Management Protocol SNMP sweepers, vulnerability scanners. Hackers are seeking any information that can help them perpetrate an attack on a target, such as the following: computer names, operating systems, installed software, IP addresses, user accounts. Phase 3. Gaining access. Phase 3 is when the real hacking takes place. Vulnerability exposed during the reconnaissance and scanning phases are now exploited to gain access to the target system. The hacking attack can be delivered to the target system via a local network LAN, either wired or wireless, local access to a PC, the internet, or offline. Examples include stack-based buffer overflows, denial of service, and session hijacking. These topics will be discussed in later chapters. Gaining access is known in the hacker world as owning the system because once a system has been hacked, the hacker has control and can use the system as they wish. Phase 4: Maintaining access. Once a hacker has gained access to a target system, they want to keep that access for future exploitation and attacks. Sometimes hackers harden the system from the other hackers or security personnel by securing their exclusive access with backdoors, rootkits, and trojans. Once the hacker owns the system, they can use it as a base to launch additional attacks. In this case, the owned system is sometimes referred to as a zombie system. Phase 5: Covering tracks. Once hackers have been able to gain and maintain access, they cover their tracks to avoid detection by security personnel. To continue to use the owned system to remove evidence of hacking or to avoid legal action, hackers try to remove all traces of the attack, such as log files or intrusion detection system alarms or IDS alarms. Examples of activities during this phase of the attack include steganography using tunneling protocol, altering log files. Steganography using tunneling protocols and altering log files for purpose of hacking will be discussed in later chapters.